like you know how this goes.
Generous, got a big house, that's my preference. Sitting pretty at the top, Mount Everest. Yeah, I'm bossy, dripping sauce. Cast spells like I'm Severus. Puffing on the best asparagus. Take my sweet time, never in a rush. 'Cause I'm bossy, dripping sauce. Leo, rising. I am so inspiring. CEO, my title, my videos go viral. Take a good look at the fit, lit from my head to my toes. They all wanna sip of the drip, watch out when they getting too close. Turn it up, 'cause I come in cut. Say, don't you interrupt. Everybody watch me, gonna level up. No, you cannot touch me. Chilling in the cut, dodging paparazzi. Big bands feeling generous. Got a big house, that's my preference. Sitting pretty at the top, Mount Everest. Yeah, I'm bossy, dripping sauce. Cast spells like I'm Severus. Puffing on the best asparagus. Take my sweet.
Hey, what's up, world, and welcome to an all-new special edition of the OH.Report video podcast, where we're going to be breaking down the boys' high school tournament bracket, show you all the matchups that you need to know and all the top players and everything that you probably hearing everybody talking about at the water cooler after a Big Time Selection Sunday. I am Brian Skorotsky. Of course, I'm with you every Monday night here on the podcast. Travis Berardi also hanging out with me, and after a Big Time Super Bowl Sunday as well. And
Was it?
I had a good time. I enjoyed the game.
2.5 quarters. It was like
I like the overtime.
Yeah,
I like the
it got
drama
better.
at the end. I know you did it big. I think you're licking your wounds. You didn't win any bets yesterday. You went to the roulette table and add a little insult to injury to the pocketbook.
I had a good time though. I was with friends.
That's important.
I was with my buddies. We had a chance to get together. We actually portioned off a section of the American Legion back in Chester, West Virginia, to ourselves. You know, had a good time with our friends. Yes, kind of like a VIP thing. I'm telling you, I bet you they were so. If Mahomes didn't go, all Super Bowl MVP on that last drive, I'm telling you, there might have been a kicker winning MVP for the first one because there's
crazy.
8, 9 field goals in that game, and that was all the offense.
Felt like
Pacheco looked like he could have had MVP, but he fumbled. CMC had a touchdown, but he fumbled. Purdy, Mahomes, interception, things like that. It was ugly. But then it got better at the end.
Did.
The Swifties got their Super Bowl.
Indeed.
Taylor got on there. I mean, it was a fun thing. Drink every time you see Taylor Swift. But hey, I enjoyed the whole thing.
Super Sunday is everything that we were hoping it would be, and it ended with the happy ending, of course, for the new Kelsey fans out there.
Yeah.
And a lot of family members of mine, Chiefs fans. So Cousin Amber, Uncle Billy, I know that you guys are loving it. Back-to-back Super Bowls. I mean, it's just disgusting how much good times you're enjoying during your NFL seasons. Us Browns fans, we're trying to catch up. Trying to get on your wavelength. I saw that they already put out the rankings, or at least the odds for Super Bowl champions next year. Browns 5,000 to 1. Kind of surprised. We were like 18th on the list. I thought they'd be a little bit higher after the showing. All the awards that we got: Defensive Player of the Year, of course, the Coach of the Year, Comeback Player of the Year. Like, what more do they want?
It's the Browns.
We're underdogs.
That's what it's just the Browns. I mean,
it's fine.
I think those odds would have been a lot better if C.J. Stroud wouldn't have thrown up and down the field against you guys. But underdog role.
Did that against everybody.
Underdog role.
Indeed.
That's all you got to do.
That's right.
I'm done talking about football though.
That's right. This is a high school
What
basketball
a great
show.
season. What a great season
been great.
we've had in the NFL. But it's tournament time.
Let's turn the page. It's almost March Madness.
Yeah.
The selection went down yesterday for all the divisions, of course.
Kind of surprised at some things.
Yeah, we're going to get into a lot of things in the boys basketball playoffs coming up here. Tonight on the show, we're going to hear from Greg Gallaway of the MOAC champion Shelby Whippets, and now the state-ranked number 3 Whippets. Mr. 400 himself, John Kurtz, is going to be calling in, along with Kyle Kurtz of the Crestview Cougars, off of their only loss of the season. Started 18-0. You didn't know about this until like 30 minutes ago. You were stunned to hear it.
Well, you and I saw them play St. Paul.
Wasn't close.
At home, and it was a blowout. And then to hear that they lost at the buzzer to St. Paul, perfect storm. But sometimes losses like this are the best thing that could happen to a squad.
Could be motivating for them.
Especially with what Margaretta decided to do in the tournament draw.
We'll talk about that with
Can't
them.
wait. Yeah.
Also, Blade Tackett of the KMAC champion Northmor
Fourth
hoops
time
team.
in 60-year history, Northmor, KMAC champs. Woo. They also, I'm kind of surprised at how that went with their draw. We'll discuss it with him coming up in a bit. But first,
let's start the show with how good of a get is this? A 6-time defending league champion coach. Okay, this man has more wins than any other coach that actually plays their games inside of a cave. That I can confirm. It's the unofficial mayor of Lucas and one of the coolest, iciest dudes around. The one, the only, Lucas head coach, Taylor Iceman.
What's up, Ice?
What's going on, guys?
Hey, we're having a lot of fun here tonight. Were you able to stay up? Did you catch the entire Super Bowl? You stick around for the overtime and all that?
Yeah, stayed up and watched the game last night.
Mahomes doing Mahomes-like things. Are you kind of tired of that storyline in Kansas City in general, or are you cool with that bunch continuing that dynasty?
Yeah, you always want to see somebody else win, but he's pretty impressive, and Coach Tom's I know you know real well, and Coach Cockerty, my buddies, they're big 49ers fans, so I was all right with seeing Chiefs, take it home there. I didn't have a dog in the race there.
Yeah, me either. But kind of your Cougars, I would say that your guys kind of one of our bears in the fight out there. We love watching what you've been able to do. 150-win milestone this year. And you took over a program, Ice, of course. I mean, they had won 10 games combined in like the 5 seasons previous. So Could you ever have imagined that the program would be in this solid of a place 8 years later from where you took it over?
I think I'd be lying if I said I thought that, but I knew we could get there, and I knew what kind of kids we had coming up in our program. And like I said, I can't say I'm completely surprised, though. Just winners. All you think back over the years, all the kids that I've had, didn't matter if they were on the football field, the baseball field, in the gym, playing basketball. Just a lot of good kids and winners, and I just pointed them in the right direction, and it's been a fun ride.
Yeah, I think you can give yourself a few more pats on the back than that. You're already the winningest coach in program history, second most playoff victories all time as well. Do you think that you would actually be in first place in that category if you got to continue the 2020 state playoffs? Because maybe a few more games on the horizon. How much have you thought about that potential matchup that never happened with Richmond Heights?
Yeah, we talk about that all the time, and Richmond Heights is where they're at today, but that was kind of the first year they kind of came onto the scene, and I would have liked to have had a shot at them. I think just the team that we had that year and the group of kids that we had, they're the type of guys that could upset a team like that. So we talk about it a lot, but there ain't nothing that's going to bring it back or give us a chance to go back. So we just got to be excited about that year and that run that we had. We've got a banner hanging there in the gym. You see the picture of those kids, and I get to see them every day, and still talk to all those guys a lot. And it was a special team, and we still have that goal to get a little bit further than those guys.
It almost makes it more fun, like the mystery, the mystique behind it that obviously you'll never really know. So I think that there's about 8 teams in the state that all kind of claim that they were champions that year in the different divisions. So in some regards, it's kind of fun. But Travis has a question for you about what makes Cubs hoops. Well, Cubs hoops.
What's up, Coach? How you doing tonight?
Go on, man.
I just want to explain to everybody out there that kind of doesn't know everything about Lucas basketball. Just explain the culture and how that culture's changed from day one as you as head coach to now, because it kind of reminds me of the football team, the blue collar, we'll go out and play anybody. But before you came to Lucas, the basketball team wasn't in a good shape. It wasn't in a good position, but then you took things over, and now, 6 straight championships, tournament runs, all of this stuff.
Yeah, I would say, when I was growing up, we had a very successful basketball program, and we made a couple of really good long tournament runs, and it was just a really cool time to be around our school, and you get to see the community, come together like they do, and it was really cool. And then I got up to high school, and we were average at best, and then just kind of went downhill from there. I graduated and left the community, went to college, and then we lived in Florida for a few years. And I was getting phone calls and things, saying like we weren't even scoring in JV games and we weren't winning any games. It was just tough to hear. And come back, and just there was some good young families that had kids that were going to be coming up, and athletics were extremely important to them. They were very dedicated at the youth level, and I was just excited to be able to get back involved. And like I said, when you put families together that want to be successful, with kids that want to work hard and want to win, you just get the outcome that we had. And again, like I say, you see the football program success. A lot of people don't think about like having Shelby Grover around, female athlete, but she was way more successful than any of the boys we even had. But just having that around it, that they were really, really good, small school athletes. But we had some of the best kids, in the state of Ohio, no matter what size school. And when you have those types of kids around and in your program and doing things, it's just it rubs off on the groups below them and above them, and it's just a culture now of winning, and everybody just wants to keep it going, and nobody wants to be that group that takes a step backwards. So. Our kids that come to the games and watch, all they know is winning, and now they, that's what they want. And you get 4 years in high school, and everybody wants to, be able to go out there and experience the Lucas atmosphere that they get to play in, whether it be football, basketball, baseball, or, whatever the case may be. Our community supports everybody, and it's a special place.
And also, like I said, like the football team, you're not afraid to shy away from big competition. You know, I had that great game against Mansfield Christian that Brian and I were lucky enough to witness. Amazing game at the Cupcake. But then the next night, you have Max Dawson, the area's leading scorer, come in. Tough loss against Willard, but you, like I said, you don't shy away from the competition. What does that just say about you and your squad, that not only you play these big teams, but it gets you better and gets you ready for the tournament?
Yeah, well, like I said, I've been around for 8-9 years now, and we've learned, you know, you want to be the best, you got to go out and play the best. And Willard is a really, really good team, and you know, we went toe-to-toe with them for a couple quarters. Then we kind of got tired there in the third quarter, and they stretched it out on us. Then we played even with them the rest of the game. But, you know, there's nothing lost there. I tell everybody all the time, I would rather, you know, go out and play good against a big, tough opponent like Willard and lose, as opposed to, you know, winning by 25 or 30 against somebody that we're supposed to, and just not feeling good about winning. We just take so much more from that, especially this time of the year as we get ready to go play in tournament.
Yes, Max Dawson and the boys actually kind of ended your perfect home record again. This is the second time in 3 seasons they've come in there and done that to you guys. You're starting to get a little bit of a, not necessarily a hatred, but a little rivalry going with Willard. I believe they've had your number. They got you like the last 4 years.
Yeah, we're a proud program, and, you know, we like to knock off the big schools. And again, I tell everybody all the time, if you're not from Lucas, if you're from one of these surrounding schools, don't matter what size, you're sick of hearing about Lucas. You want to beat them. Like I say, they're just tired of hearing about all of our success. So we get everybody's best shot. Big school, small school, it doesn't matter. But, you know, especially when it comes to Willard, we know the Dawsons real well, and we know Max. He's a great kid. But, yeah, you know, it's a little bit of a rivalry, and we've had fun, but I'm glad he's graduating.
Yeah, I think the whole area is okay with that.
I have a little bit more success now that he's going to be graduated. Like I said, I love Max to death, but I'm glad I don't have to coach against him anymore.
Well, one cool thing that happened for you guys, Logan Tom's second all-time leading scorer in the history of the school, that went down against Willard, and he's got a chance actually to break Logan Niswander's record tomorrow when you guys take on Clear Fork. So when you think about Logan and the offensive threat and weapon that both of those guys possessed, obviously very recent, Niswander just graduated a few years ago. You just get to pick one, Coach. Who do you think is the ultimate supreme offensive weapon for Cubs basketball? Because they will be number 1 and 2 all-time here soon.
I would say offensively, you probably would have to go with Logan Niswander, but with Logan Toms, you get kind of get the full package with what he's able to do defensively. And, you know, Logan Niswander could shoot it from the outside a little bit better than Logan Toms. But like I said, that's 2 great kids, 2 extremely good athletes. Again, just winners. You know, multiple all Ohioans with both of them on you know, it didn't matter if it was on the football field, basketball court, or baseball field, or even now track with Logan. They're just, you know, good kids. And but like I said, offensively, I think I'd have to go with Logan Niswander there.
I mean, it's really like picking between like a Reese cup and a Snicker bar. They're both delicious. They're both satisfying, gets the job done. So I agree, though. Logan Niswander, I don't think played varsity as a freshman, correct? He did all his scoring his last 3 seasons.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's got that going, but Tom's obviously probably going to pass him tomorrow, and then we'll see how many more points he's able to add on when you get in the tournament and make that nice run that we all anticipate. So let's go ahead. Let's bring up the bracket and take a look at what you guys are eyeballing in the Willard district there in Division 4 Ice. And as the number 3 seed, you guys elected to – let's see, where are you at here?
Bottom left.
Bottom left. So you're going to be taking on Crestline, and then – assuming you move on, Sandusky, CC, or Monroeville in the sectional final. Just break down kind of the process and the conversation that went down during the tournament draw yesterday, and ultimately why you selected going where you're at.
Yeah, the draw kind of went how we figured. We were not real surprised with where Crawford and obviously Seneca East, you know, they went away from each other, so we get to kind of pick, you know, which team you want to try and, you know, stay away from until the district championship game. And we obviously, you know, dropped a tough one to Colonel Crawford this year, and they were able to knock us off last year in the district. So we went down in the bottom there with Seneca East, and you look up top and you see Norwalk St. Paul team that just beat Crestview, and then Mansfield Christian, another really good team. Obviously, we've played them twice, but very familiar with them. They're all up there in that top half, so we're pretty happy with the way it went. I think this year it's pretty wide open. There's probably any one of 5 or 6 teams that could win it. Just kind of going to depend on who's playing well at the right time.
Well, it always seems to be your guys' program when you get into tournaments, so looking forward to another deep run, likely into that district championship. I think Travis and I both kind of anticipating, it's going to be the Cubs from the bottom. We'll see who gets there from the top, but, OH.Report's going to be there throughout the entire course of your tournament. And we're going to see you tomorrow, Coach, so we'll be out at the Cub Cave. Hopefully going to be a part of some history. So don't tell us if you do, but maybe if there's going to be some fireworks. I know you guys tend to have those out there, or something real cool if some history does go down. We're looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, I hope so. He gets 23, 24, 25 points. That'll obviously put us in a good spot to win tomorrow night. And ultimately, I know that's what Logan wants, but he's going to break it at some point, and we'll celebrate it when it happens, hopefully tomorrow night.
All right, the winningest coach in the history of Lucas Hoops, Mr. Taylor Iceman. Thanks for the time here on a Monday night, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Just one of the nice people, and
absolutely.
Didn't even ask him about this, and I still actually haven't, and I'm curious because I had no idea about his battle with diabetes since the time he was pretty young, like I think teenage, and is in need of a kidney transplant. His spleen perhaps needs replaced. Like there's a few different things going on inside of the old body in terms of the internal organs, and he just keeps on ticking and making it happen, and he never misses a beat. I would have had no idea if I did not read that article. He doesn't talk about it. And
Shout out Jake for a great article.
Thank you, Jake, for informing us all. That's kind of crazy that he's kind of going through that stuff, but still leading one of the most successful programs in the area.
He personifies Lucas, the culture. Like I said, blue collar. It doesn't matter what's thrown at him. He'll go right back at you. He'll battle it right back. That's Lucas, is it not? That's perfect. He's the perfect guy for Lucas. Great guy, great athletic director, works with us all the time about if we need anything for streaming or internet-wise, things like that. Just an all-around great guy, a great coach, and one of the best in the area.
You know what the craziest part about Lucas is right now?
You have great internet somehow.
I streamed a HD quality game over there on Friday and Saturday off my phone. What?
Yeah, it was good service too. I mean,
that's crazy. It used to be the place where you would leave there and you'd get over the crest of the hill when you were leaving town, and then all of a sudden that's when the network would start to catch up and cling, cling, all the different notifications.
I have AT&T, so I don't got that special hotspot.
So or
tower power yet, but
so when we're down in Lucas tomorrow, if you want to call or whatever, I'm available. Down in the valley.
Hopefully I'm not going to be needing to call you for my game at Centerburg. Hopefully everything goes right there for their senior night. But I think we have our next interviewees.
Should we move on from one legendary coach to the other? I think that's what we're going to do here tonight. How about a guy?
Let's do it.
Just picked up his 400th career win.
That's crazy.
Okay.
That's so awesome.
I don't know exactly where that ranks in Richland County lore, but that's probably top 4.
I know it's 198 behind Joe Baylog.
That's right.
Well, less now.
Closing in.
So.
This man coaches one of the best teams in Division III, the #1 seed in the Northwest 3 district. Please welcome onto the show Mr. 400 himself, John Kurtz, and I think that we have assistant coach Kyle Kurtz as well. Let's see. Hey, there they are. What's up, Kurtz? Which residence are we hanging out at? Is this John's residence here tonight?
Yeah, we're at home. We had to hustle home from practice to get here in time, so we're at home now.
Well, we appreciate you guys calling in. How was the first day of practice back after the Super Bowl?
Well, the first practice back after our first loss was a bit rough today.
Oh yeah, that too.
We don't play well, and we had film at 3:30 and then practice at 5, and it was a long afternoon, to say the least.
So a little bit of a sour taste probably in your mouths all the way across the board. Travis and I both saw round 1 between you guys and the Flyers at home, and you handled them. It was never a contest. We could tell that from about 5 minutes in. What happened in chapter number 2 where Norwalk St. Paul was able to bounce back there at the end of the game and then knock you off? What would you see?
Well, to go back to the first game, we started out that game, if I remember right, like a 24-2 run, something like that.
It was crazy hot start.
Yeah, and they just kind of. I think even their coach would say they probably stopped playing very hard. And when we get on those rolls like that, we don't really seem to cool down for a bit, and that was like that entire game. And we kind of warned our kids that it won't be like that at St. Paul. And but man, when you're talking to 15, 16, 17-year-olds about that, it doesn't always ring. They don't always figure that out. So we got into a slowdown, which has been what we've been seeing the last, 4 or 5 games. Nobody plays us man anymore. It's all some variation of the zone, and we've struggled a bit with that. But at St. Paul, it really wasn't our offense that was the problem. Our defense was just not very good, and we kind of saw that coming. And I'm just glad that it happened in the regular season and not in the tournament.
And sometimes those games like that can probably be motivating for the team, be something that, kind of jumpstarts you as you get closer to tournament, Coach. But let's not talk about the bad times. How about the good ones? 18 straight wins for you before Saturday. Almost all of them were by double figures. What has impressed you most about this group and coming off of a big-time season last year, the fact that their encore has been so far even better?
They are a great group of kids, and they're a group of kids that probably in my career are the hardest working kids that I've ever had as far as development in the off season. Our kids really, they set the bar high for the whole program in the off season, and Justice and Jarek, those guys Sam, they kind of led us in the off season. And, we present a lot of matchup problems offensively, and that's why we don't see a lot of man. But so we've been spending a lot of time on zone. We're getting pretty good at that now. And I think, a couple more weeks, we'll have that figured out also. And we've been seeing multiple zones, all kinds of variety, half man, half zone, just all kinds of stuff. And yeah, it's kind of, at times, it's been a challenge for our kids because, the teams are holding the ball and us slowing it down. And, we average 71 a game. So I guess that's the strategy, is to get us slowed down and try to get us, to get in the half court, maybe take some bad shots. And sometimes we've done that. But overall, I can't really say enough about the kids. It's just, they're great kids, and they do a lot of really good things for the program. And that's, I think it's really been a culture change over there. And the kids are just, they're the ones that are the driving force behind that.
It's definitely been cool to see you in your second stint back here at Crestview how far the program has taken a couple of 2-3 extra steps in the right direction. And I know Travis has a question. He wants to know about how you've been able to keep the good times rolling.
Yeah, over 400 victories. I know multiple schools, but just can you just reflect on your career so far? I don't know how many coaches in the state of Ohio, in the history of Ohio basketball, have even reached this, but this is quite the milestone for you, Coach.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to reflect during the season, and but I will say, I was very young when I started at Temple, and it was probably the right place for me to start. I was given some room to grow, and then obviously I went to Mansfield Christian, and then Crestview, and back to Crestview. But I just think in order to have a lot of wins as a coach, you got to have players that are willing to buy in. And I just really feel like we can lay out what we think works, but in the end, the kids have to buy in. And I've just been blessed with kids that buy in. Those last 4 or 5 years at Temple, I had some really big teams. I had some 6'8", 6'6", 6'5" kids that played, and we were pretty good. And then when I went to Christian, we won 91 games there and fought some major injuries. I think I had 6 season-ending injuries. They were all to my best players, 2 or 3 ACLs, and that was tough. But coming back here to Crestview, these kids were so hungry to win. I think when we started there, we had a team that won maybe like 6 or 7 games, and the first night that I saw them in practice, I was like, I just don't understand how this group of kids has only won 6 or 7 games. And so they had kids that really wanted to be better, and we just tried to lay out a good game plan to build the team and the program. And we have a good under program now, and I think if there's one thing that I could say I think our coaching staff is good at is development. That's what we've been really working on. If you see the difference even from last year to this year in our size and strength and our ability to play, multiple kids be able to play, I think that's comes back to just coaches working really hard to develop players to become better players.
And then back to now, tournament draw yesterday. Are you kind of surprised that Margaretta went at you for a possible district semifinal? Because it changes the complexion of things. Instead of giving maybe 2.5 days of prep time for you guys to get ready for them, now you win your sectional championship and you get about 4.5 days of prep for them.
Yeah, it was interesting. I guess that's the best way I can put it. In the draw, they passed and then came back and they jumped in our bracket. And I guess if they were there watching the St. Paul game, I kind of understand maybe the thought process there, but I can't really speak for what they were thinking. But it's laid out, and we got to win the sectional, and then then we would. If Margaretta wins through that, then we'd have to face them in the semis instead of the finals.
We did earn the #1 seed in that D3 Norwalk district. Let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket right now, see what the Cougars are going to be up against when they get into the tournament trail here in a couple of weeks. And you guys elected to take a first-round bye, Coach. Why would you say that you value resting during that sectional semifinals?
I've kind of always done that, is just take the bye, and I don't know. Just sometimes I just get very concerned about, playing in that first game and getting an injury. And so that's always been my thought process with that. And, I guess there's multiple ways to look at that, but that's just been kind of our way of moving forward with that. And, you work so hard for that first bye, in the regular season. And I just feel like it's an extra chance to maybe heal up if you're dinged up a little bit from the regular season, and then obviously a little bit more prep time.
Last year, knocked out of the tourney against Huron, a game that you guys got off to an unbelievably awful start, and then you battled back and actually made it interesting at the end. What type of lessons do you think the players that are still around kind of learn from that, and what type of motivation you think that's going to be for them when you guys actually get into the playoffs again?
Well, first of all, that was a very good Huron team. That was a team that I think the year before, I think they beat Lexington, or they played Lexington, and
they won the district.
Yeah, they did beat them.
And that was a really nice team that dropped down to Division III. And I got to admit, my kids being in the districts there, I think maybe it felt like maybe that stage was a little bit big for us with Huron. And we were just terrible in the first 3 or 4 minutes of that game. And Huron was very physical with us, and that was one of the things we emphasized this year, is we had to get stronger and be able to handle that physicality. But, we came back there. I think we got it to 3, I think, in that game late in the fourth. And I was really proud of my kids not laying down in that game, and it showed a real kind of a culture/character thing with our kids that they just, once we started, rolling, our kids just, there was a lot of freedom there, and we didn't play like that early in the game. And I will say that last year we did have some struggles early on in games. Ontario game, we struggled in that one too early on. So that is something, and I totally agree with what you're saying, is it's something your kids have to learn. It's really hard for a coach just to say, hey, we got to get going early. That doesn't really mean a lot until you've been in that situation.
Sure.
And so I just feel like, I think maybe we're better equipped for that now.
You mentioned that you feel like your team's a little bit bigger this season, better athletes overall. And Kyle, you've been hanging out with us, and so that you're not just the eye candy hanging out there on the edge of the couch there with Pops. In what ways do you feel like you've helped the guys kind of elevate how they are just overall as athletes, getting into the weight room, maybe working on some calisthenics and other different things that would kind of set you apart outside of basketball, and just being better overall weapons when they get their opportunities because they're better athletes?
Well, I think one thing that I have that some of the other coaches don't have is I'm a little bit closer in age to the players. So sometimes I can relate with them a little bit better. And another thing is, in the off season when it comes around, some of the other coaches can't make it to all the open gyms. So we go 2 or 3 days a week, and I'm one of the only guys that can make it to everything. And then I have some free time as well to look up how individual players can improve their game. So when we do our end of the year kind of performance review type things for the players, we give them the things they need to work on. And so then when we go to open gym, I can spend time with those guys. Yeah.
It's got to be nice for you too, John, to have like that extra extension, kind of the younger generation with you, so you don't have to feel like you're got to get on TikTok and see what the kids are into. Kyle can figure those things out for you. He can kind of translate and pass that back on to you. Seems like a good mix that you guys got going on out in Cougar Country between you two right now.
Well, it's nice to have him there with the team, and he's really good with development and skill development. And he's probably better able to relate to the players than I am. And I think him being in our system, it also it's easier for the kids him maybe to explain how this works and how it's been successful. And so it's nice to have my son, and he does do a lot to make us a better program.
Well, I'm very excited to see how you guys do in tournament this year. Of course, Margaretta doing what they did, that's going to make that district semifinal, if we get it, very, very exciting. But I know that you got a lot to accomplish between now and then. So good luck tomorrow against South Central. Keep taking care of business, and get another one for that Firelands Conference banner to add. Kurtz, keep doing what you do.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, coaches.
All right, thank you. Man, what a great program. And
yeah.
How cool is that to be able to coach alongside your son, who just graduated from high school, about a handful of years ago. So I love that he can relate, he can develop, he knows about player development. He was just getting developed himself just a handful of years ago.
Right.
And so to be able to bring that knowledge to Pops, it looks like they're hanging out too. They probably watch TV, watch some NBA, chit-chat about basketball. I bet that's got to be such a fun relationship for father-son.
You think Coach Kurtz has a TikTok or even knows how to roll TikTok?
He probably calls it. He would remind me of like a Belichick, where what's he called it? Like the my face or whatever, like
face space.
I can't picture Coach Kurtz being on social media, but he might be surprised me. Who knows? Maybe he breaks down some of those dances. He certainly seems like he still stays fit and active. So who knows, man?
It still baffles me that Margaretta went after Crestview because some developments on the bottom half with some of the upper squads. That bottom half of that bracket is wide open. So it's looking like that district semifinal could be a de facto district championship game. So
I think it is.
It's very interesting to see their thought process on that. But I mean, after Crestview, that dropped that game against St. Paul, maybe Margaretta said, "Hey, if we get 4.5 days of preparation and seeing what St. Paul was able to do in that second game, I mean,
that's about the only thing that makes sense to me is that obviously they've got a great head coach over there. They're 16-2. They're having an unbelievable season. Normally they would be a #1 seed.
They beat Willard already.
And got a chance to sweep them on Friday night when they go head-to-head for that SBC Bay crown. But thinking, like you were saying out loud, like if we have a whole week to prepare, maybe, just maybe, we'd be able to knock them off instead of just having the 2 days.
But flip it around, as Coach Baylog would say, flip the coin. Crestview also gets an extra couple days to prepare for Margaretta.
That's right.
And with a guy like Coach Kurtz, over 400 wins, he, I know he has Coach Baylog. He's got Coach Sheldon in his flip phone or whatever he has. Doesn't have TikTok, I bet, but he gets extra time to prep too. So it's not one-sided there, and that's another reason why I'm thinking, man, if these two teams have 2.5 days of preparation, we'll see what goes. But now they're going to have almost a full week. This may be a shootout, or it could be a very defensive-minded game. But I'm looking forward to what that. Well, as media members, we can say we look forward to that district semifinal.
We know it's coming.
I know they got to play.
It's okay. All right, Travis. Let's get on to our next guest. All right. I think you know this guy pretty good.
A little bit. Yeah.
He's a conference champion.
Yes, he is.
For the first time as a coach, who also played on a district champion team as a player.
Had some Sheldon Sweat probably thrown at him a couple times. And
more than enough. Probably on the bench many, many times. His current program, though, has never won a district championship in boys hoops.
Came close last year.
This man is also an AD, and he is a father of 2. Please welcome proud papa, Blade Tackett of the Northmor Golden Knights.
What's up, buddy?
Coach, that's a lot to juggle when you're athletic director, you're a dad, you're a husband, you're friends with Travis, trying to keep up with all of that. What is like the magic mix for how you keep the 3-ring circus like just moving at your pace and handling it all so very well?
The magic mix is a woman named Taylor Tackett, I would say. Yeah, she's amazing. We were just talking the other day. I don't really know. This is, year 10 for us doing this, which is not long for many people, but a lot longer than, it feels long to me. And every year I think we get busier, and every year around this time, which is our favorite time of the year, we kind of reflect and think, how the heck did we make it through that winter season? But it's a team effort in this household, just like it is, when we coach our teams on the floor. So it's a one day at a time mentality, just like a one possession at a time mentality. It's like, we'll sit up tonight and go, hey, what we got going on tomorrow, and how the heck are we going to get through it? So, and her being a coach helps out a lot too, because she understands the time and dedication, as much as I do. So it's difficult, but it's always been fun. And as the years go on, it gets more and more exciting.
Shout out to all the good Taylors out there, and it sounds like Taylor Tackett, and another one of the good ones. And behind every great man and coach, of course, is the backup. But Coach, I got to ask about your last game. We didn't get a chance to get over there on the OH Report. You had a chance to have the KMAC all to yourselves. Fredericktown's been playing great, of course. They knocked you off last Wednesday in the Freddie Nest. What happened in that one? Obviously, they've been playing really well, but so had you heading into that one. It was a battle of 2 long winning streaks. How did they continue theirs and yours?
Yeah, it was. They are playing extremely well, and they're just loaded with talent. And I think much like our first game went, it was kind of who got off to the better start. And unfortunately for us, it was it was Fredericktown on Wednesday. They kind of just did whatever they wanted. They were able to get to the basket at will. They were running in transition. On our missed shots, they were getting wide open layups on the back end. And so we had trouble scoring, which led to easier offensive possessions for them and tougher defensive possessions for us, which was kind of the story of the first game too, but flipped. We had great defensive possessions, and that led to, good offensive looks for us. So, and it was bizarre because we got Gavin in foul trouble. Gavin Toombs, for those that don't know him, who's, very talented sophomore. And, they scored 22 in the second quarter with basically him on the bench. And then in the second half, we hold him to 24, when he's on the floor the entire time, and kind of clawed back into it. But it's one of those things, that was exactly what happened at Northmor. We were up 16. I think they cut it all the way to 5. And then it ended up us winning by 12 or 14. And it was the same way, but flipped. They were up big, 17 at half. We cut it all the way to 4. I think even 3 one possession with a breakaway layup, and didn't convert. And then they push it back to 2 possessions with free throws. So, I wish we would have got off to a better start. But, that's just the way it goes sometimes. And I was proud of our guys for the effort in the second half. It's a resilient group, but, it's just hard to get over that hump when you're playing a really good team like Fredericktown and retake the lead or even tie it and then take the lead. So, overall an exciting game, and Fredericktown earned it. I think they're on an 8-game winning streak now. They went down and had a tough game against Centerburg, but we're able to pull that one off too. So, congrats to them. But, for us, we're still pretty excited for a league share. There's a lot of coaches in our building that would take a league title, even if it was a share right now. So, I'm not going to get greedy. We're going to enjoy it. We're going to buy all the T-shirts. We're going to hang the year on the banner and do all that stuff. So, we're still pretty excited.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with sharing. It's caring, and you still get your piece of the chip. And obviously, there's still a lot of momentum on your guys' side. Had a 7-game win streak rolling into that one. So when you're playing that well and you see your coaching strategies are paying off and the kids, they're getting theirs, they're buying in, and the wins are coming, how does that change the mentality overall when you're at the practice, on the bus rides, and at the game? Because obviously winning, it influences your culture. Getting a big taste of that here recently, how have you seen things change for the better within your program?
Yeah, it kind of makes everything a lot easier. You try for years, we've kind of been buying into a certain way of doing things, like a certain way of preparation, a certain way of practice, a certain way of off-season work. And early on, when you're struggling a little bit, it's hard to get kids to believe that kind of thing works. But I think for 4 years we've really, and Travis has been around a lot, so I think he can attest to this. Our big message, I think, is that if you do if you do the little things right, and you do them consistently and consistently good, then eventually good things are going to happen.
Preach, brother.
And we've seen that in little spurts over the 4 years, but we've never seen it in this big of one where it was 7 games, and kids are finally like, yeah, these kinds of things are working for us. And I'll tell you, the most exciting part is, I think our older guys have always been bought in and believed in it, even though we had decent success but not great success. But I think right now, when you go on a run like that, you really capture the attention of the younger kids. Like, we had a freshman that wanted to come in on yesterday after youth basketball, and he just kind of texted me out of the whim and said, "Hey, can I come in and get some shots up?" And this is a kid whose freshman season ended. He's got 3 more JV games left, and he's already hungry to kind of get after it in the off season. So you see those big games too, and the packed crowd, and you kind of hope the younger kids look at that and think, man, I want to be Jax or Grant or Hunter. I want to be one of those guys one of those days, making one of those big shots, or playing in a game that's an outright league title or a league share. So all that stuff helps the program immensely.
You got some dudes this year. I got to see you play a couple of weeks ago. I was really impressed watching them in person, and you mentioned those 3 names, and obviously those are the 3 guys that I would probably identify as who's kind of rowing the ship right now. But to me, Jax Wenger is kind of that dude for you. He just seems like he's got that it factor, whatever that is. We never can really materialize it, but he seems to bring that piece of the puzzle together for you. So what does that dude offer to you when he's out on the floor, and then maybe even away from the floor? Because getting to talk to him a little bit, it sounds like this is a group that like to get together and hang out. He's kind of the centerpiece of that. So I guess my question is, how important is Jax Wenger to your ultimate success?
Yeah, I think he's the cog that turns us. I mean, he not only is he super talented, but he's our point guard, which is, probably the most important position in just being able to handle the ball and get us into our stuff and be a leader on the floor, the old cliche, the quarterback, if you will. But, I was just heartbroken for him early on. I mean, it's such a great football season, 2nd team All-Ohio. The kid's, 6'2" and $185 now. He's just super talented in all aspects. And I wasn't sad, from a selfish standpoint. I was just sad that people wouldn't get to witness this kid, for 8 or 9 games or whatever that he sat out. Since he's been back, he's kind of shown, the kind of kid that he is. Against Cardington, when we officially did the stats, I think he was 22 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists, and 6 steals. Last year in our district semis against Delaware Christian, he put up an actual triple-double of 20, 10, and 10. And so I think he shines the brightest when the biggest lights are on. He's just got that X factor, that kind of killer instinct, the Kobe mentality. And I'll tell you, the best part about it from a coach's standpoint is, with that kid on the floor, that you're going to be competitive in every game. Even when Fredericktown jumps out to a 17-point lead at half, you got a feeling with a kid like that on the floor that he can just kind of claw you back into it, regardless of the situation. And that's why we're so excited down here at the end of the year, because he's back. And, fingers crossed, Cole Cuffman, who was instrumental in some of our wins early on. Mansfield Christian, Centerburg the first time, East Knox when we were struggling. He goes back to the doctor tomorrow. Trevor Brewbakers, who was the other kid that replaced Jackson when we were out, he's starting to get healthy and shoot well again. And, everyone was telling me early on when we were dealing with all these injuries that it's a marathon and not a sprint. Well, here we are at the last leg of the marathon. And, I just hope that we're all getting healthy and somehow we can make all these pieces fit without, I don't want to say hurting the chemistry because I don't think that's going to be a problem, but, we're playing well. So, how do you make all these pieces fit when everyone comes back together? I think that's going to be a challenge, but it's also going to be extremely rewarding.
Let's move on to the tournament draw now. Your honorary coach, Travis Berardi, here. He's got some questions about where you decided to play and who you decided to play.
So I texted you earlier, said I was going to get you with the hard-hitting questions. I know the reasoning for this, but people that look at the bracket may not. 3 seed, Shekinah Christian, who went to the other bracket, they said they were going to go opposite. They were going to pass and do the opposite of what you guys did. It didn't matter. You went right at Northside. And because Shekinah and Tree of Life go the other way, Patriot Prep, the team that we saw in the district championship game last year, went right at you. It's a much tougher, at least on paper, look to a district championship this year. Explain to the folks why you did what you did.
Well, I think we just kind of sat down last week and, we've kind of gathered film on opponents. And there's some coaches that we're close with in a district. And, after talking to the coaches, about some of their plans. We just looked at the district as a whole, and even though we fell to the 3 seed after the loss at Fredericktown, I really thought that we were one of the best teams in the district, and that with the team that we have and the pieces that we have, I think we owe it to our players that if we can go on a run and do something super special, that we should give them that opportunity. And the thing that comes with that is, it may end very quickly, how this game is. And we know that our health on a game-to-game basis is super important. But, we believe in our heart that we could do something special this year. And the best way to do that was, I think, to go to the Athens side of the district and let the chips fall where they fall. And, I don't know if you saw this or not, Travis, but Patriot actually snuck up to the 4 seed on the last day. So they were right behind us. So Tree of Life fell down to the 5. So we, Northside went to the Athens, which is kind of what we expected because they won that district last year and they won a game at regionals. So I imagine they're confident that they can do it again. Shekinah went up to Kettering, as you explained, and then, we went on the side with Northside, with the opportunity to play them at district finals. I'm certainly not one to guarantee anything, trust me. You know that better than anyone. And then Patriot right behind us almost immediately took line 17, which was the sectional part right below us to play us in district semis. And why wouldn't they? I mean, if they believe that Athens is the more favorable region and they believe they can win it, then, I would expect them to go there, and they beat us last year. But, I think, the thing that our kids want that opportunity again. I think they were excited and motivated by it. And it gave us a different kind of energy and edge in practice. I could already tell today, even though, we talked about how the draw went, obviously, and we were focusing on Winford for tomorrow, and we got senior night this week. So we got all kinds of stuff before this, but I could tell there's a different kind of edge and a different kind of energy and a new kind of refocus for, okay, this actually could happen again. And I think they're looking forward to it. And I don't want them to put too much pressure on themselves because sometimes that leads to, not being able to execute when the time comes. But I think they're hungry. And for a coach, for a team to be that motivated this late in the season, it was like when Joe came, or I don't want to call him Joe, that's weird. When Coach Baylog came in and said,
show some respect, Blade. My goodness.
I know,
it's a Hall of Famer we're talking about.
That is horrible. Yeah. He said a good practice, you can kind of close your eyes and turn around and, if you're having a good practice or not. And today was one of those days where we could have done that. And I think that's a result of how the draw went. But it's going to but it's going to be challenging, Travis. There's no doubt about that. I mean, that team is built to give us problems. Our biggest things to overcome are teams that are guard laden that can get up and down the floor. And we saw that with Fredericktown and Cardington, the two teams that beat us in our league. If you can push in transition, then you can give us some problems. We want you to go against our half court defense because we're very good at it and we can get stops and then we can get good looks. But if we're not scoring and kids are getting out and running, that's what presents us problems, and that's how this team is built. So, it's going to be a challenge, but our guys, and we love a good challenge.
Well, that brings me to my next question. I think some of those boys, I honestly myself seeing you guys and practicing everything, I think you have the best team in the district, and I think you can go up toe-to-toe with anybody. But that extra incentive of a district semifinal against the team, the heartbreaking loss last year in overtime, had a couple chances to maybe ice it in regulation, but they get a chance to get that revenge. And it being in a district semifinal, a win there, motivation, momentum-wise, that could be really, really good for you guys to maybe springboard you into a run.
Yeah, that could be the slingshot for sure. I hate to look ahead too much. We're definitely preparing for that, but
you can let me look ahead.
Win like
you can face tomorrow.
Yeah, right. A win like that could definitely be the start of something special. But I think the fact that we have 6 seniors and a couple juniors now with a ton of experience, and even a sophomore with a ton of experience early on that's going to start making his way back on the floor. I think they really buy into the one game at a time mentality. So they're going to watch film and they're going to make mental notes, and they're going to send me stuff that should be on a scouting report. But I think what's most important to them is Winford tomorrow, and because they want to end the season on a special note, the regular season. And they know that the tournament season can be the funnest part of the year, and also the fastest part of the year. So I think they're really still taking a day at a time and just enjoying their company. As Brian said, they hang out all the time, and I think they're together tonight, and I'm not shocked by it at all. It's just a close-knit group of kids.
Hopefully watching the pod,
Yeah, I hope so.
Nice.
Yeah.
Shout out.
I shoot out a text right now. They'll pull it right up. I guarantee it.
Right. Well, 4th year here as head coach for the Golden Knights. So these seniors you just talked about, Grant Bentley, Hunter Falk, Drew Hammond, Logan Caudill, Isaac Black, Bryson Kearns, they've been with you from the start as well. I know, assistant coach under Coach Ruth, but your team, you began when they were freshmen. Just talk more about this special group of guys, because this is your first full crew that you've had, so you're going to remember them probably more than anybody else.
Yeah, I've talked about this before to other people, but I get emotional talking about this group because the first year that we started was the first year after COVID. I mean, we didn't get a summer. Mm-hmm. We were all wearing masks. There was limited fans in the stands. We didn't, have a great season in terms of wins on the basketball floor, although I think it was still a successful season overall in terms of a building block. And for these 6 guys to stick through that and then stick through 3 more years and kind of just, trust the process, if you will. It's a special group for me. And I think we're all close in our own right. We all have kind of different relationships, and, I appreciate the kind of kids that each one of them are, because they're all unique and similar in some ways. And I think they're just great kids. I mentioned, I don't know if this was, it was the Joe Show interview. You know me, I like to ramble, but it was one of those things where I don't want to wish their lives away or want them to grow up really fast, but I'm really excited for just who they're going to be. I think they're going to be, great husbands and great dads. And one day, and I look at, like, when I go back to weddings this summer and we all take a picture with Coach Sheldon and all of us have all these lives, and I look ahead and I think that's how close this group is going to be, and I'm looking forward to those kind of moments. I think, don't tell their parents that, though, because they don't want to wish away this stuff either. But their parents are great too, and that's a huge aspect of it too. And they've done a great job raising some wonderful young men, and we're lucky to have them in our program.
Back to the tournament for a quick second. You guys go on this run, possibly make it to a regional final, you're going to make it really tough for me because I'm going to have to go from Dayton for the girls' state tournament all the way across the state to Athens to do a regional championship to make my way back. So looking forward to all the Sirius XM time.
Yeah, we might have to throw Travis on the bus with you guys if we can't afford a private jet, Blade. So you guys might have to suffer through that, but we'll figure it out. We'll get some covers no matter what. We're going to be there.
T-Swift private jet, huh? All right. Hey,
I mean, I've been throwing a couple nickels into a little honey pot up on top of my fridge. It might need a few more, but we got a couple weeks.
Yeah. No, I look forward to making that trip because it means it's going to be a special season continued for the Golden Knights. But, yeah. So what's going on at the household tonight? Playing dinosaurs with the kids, getting beaten, go fish, doing some scouting. What we got going on, Coach?
Tatum dominated me in some Old Maid today. Except it's kind of like a dragon version, so it's like an Old Maiden. Yeah, and somehow, I try to trick him by when I have the Old Maid, pop it up really high. And then the next time I get it, I'll pop up a fake one really high and slide it over here.
Strategy.
Can't trick this kid. And I'll tell you what else he does. I cannot beat this kid in war. I don't know what it is. I don't let him win either. I don't let him win either. And the kid beats me in war every time, and it's not even close. So we're doing Old Maid, and now Mrs. Coach Tackett's got him up reading a book, so they don't end up on the podcast like they usually do. He was knocking around. He was sneaking around here a couple times.
Oh, that was the fire trucks and stuff going by. It was hilarious.
Yeah. Absolute chaos.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's been a fun night. It's been our first night off in a while, so, we've really enjoyed it.
Well, appreciate you calling in and giving us some time with your night off here, and maybe get into a little bit more practice with some Old Maid and some more. That way you can take down your boy. You can't ever let them get the upper hand too young here, Coach. You got to always kind of, have that little something over them.
That's right. I got to win while I still can, right?
While you still can.
Yes.
All right, well, good luck to you tomorrow at Winford. And we're looking forward to the senior night on Thursday. We'll be there, of course, in the house, and I'm sure it's going to be emotional. I'll make sure that Travis brings over a couple of tissues just in case.
I might need the tissues.
Right. Might go through a whole half a box there. But hey, looked like Coach has had enough.
I think he got emotional, so he got to go. But thanks to Coach Tackett, as always, a good friend of the podcast, good friend of mine, and quite the season. People asked about this. I said, why are they cutting nets down for conference championship? I appreciate that. 60 years in Northmor basketball, only 4 conference championships.
It's not a lot.
Not only that, but if you watch the stream of the game with myself and Ken Parrott on the call against Danville, he let the freshmen in the JV team cut down the opposite side of the nets. And what he wanted to do, like he said, is just instill that thought process. I want to do this again. I want to cut down this net, things like that. I think it's the small things, like he said, that they love to do. On the coach's corner, Coach Maddox filled in, asked him, about, expectations for the season. It's not just this season. We have these expectations each and every year. And like I said, it's those small things that can start building, I want to say a dynasty, but a great program. It's kind of like what Iceman has done down at Lucas. And that's, it's really turning around at Northmor, and, with the population starting to grow, more people from Columbus are moving north, so you're getting, more kids coming to the school, some more athletes. I think it's just going to continue to get better. And KMAC basketball, sports all around. I think I've always said this is one of the most underrated conferences, small school conferences in the state. And you just keep getting this inflow of kids, great coaches, young coaches. I think they're just going to continue to thrive.
It's been cool to see Coach Tackett's program progressively taking steps. I think they won, 2 games the first year was there, maybe 4,
yeah.
And then it was 8 last year, over 500 this year, KMAC champions. They got some big-time aspirations when they get into tournament. But you want to start putting them on that Coach Iceman pedestal. Well, now you got to start cranking out 18-win seasons, 20-win seasons over and over.
Yes.
So, the groundwork, it's been laid. We'll see if Blade Tackett can
we're so lucky
keep it
to have
going.
So many good coaches, so many good basketball teams year in and year out. I mean, you don't see that much. Go to the MAC, football, basketball, things like that. But other than that, our area, a lot of great schools, including the coach of our next interview coming up here momentarily.
Let's get to it.
Yeah.
What are we going to hold back for?
Why not? Another champ.
Our nenext coach just closed out a 5th straight league title for this program. He's
one
been a part
behind
of
the streak of Natalie Lance's 6th, though.
He's still trailing in that department, but working on it. The progress is there. They also just took down a Division I powerhouse.
Huge win
on Saturday.
Huge win.
One of the
road.
biggest wins, maybe the biggest win in the state. How could you say it wasn't?
No,
taking out number 1.
Yeah, and D1.
Their 11th straight win when they had that one.
Talk about peaking at the right time.
That's right, buddy. The team is Shelby. The head coach is Greg Gallaway, and he's joining us right now. What's up, Coach?
How's it going?
Hey, we're doing pretty good here tonight. I understand that you got the night off. How are you spending your Monday besides just kind of waiting to chat with us two yahoos?
Yeah, we just got done playing a tough double weekend for us. Going through that sickness that probably a lot of teams are going through right now. So
going through the OH.Report too.
Yep, that's what I heard. So a day for us to recover and to just try to get our bodies right. So that was the mindset for Monday for Shelby boys basketball, and we'll get after it here tomorrow.
Yeah, I think most of our sickness is just kind of that Super Bowl hangover. We're still kind of recouping here, me and
good.
Travis, but we're getting it back into our zone here as the hours keep dwindling away here. And as the new year continues to roll along, I mean, you guys are cooking with gas, man. You still have not lost yet in 2024. How much credit would you give to this senior class? We've been keeping an eye on them, obviously, for the last several seasons. Got some playing time as freshmen, sophomores, and now that they've developed into the leaders of the team, what can you say about the class of 2024 and what they've been able to do for Shelby basketball?
Yeah, I think you put a lot of credit to those 8 guys. You said some of them have been playing since their freshman year. The experience and the togetherness in that group is kind of what I think sets us apart from other teams. So on my end and our assistant coaches, we're fortunate to have that. It's almost like we have an extension of our staff with our guys on the court. So just the fact that they can keep everyone accountable in our program, to keep people in line to the expectation of Shelby basketball, makes things easier for us. And, we're playing good basketball right now, and that's the credit to those guys.
Well, the expectations got to be rising with this winning streak. Continue to roll into double figures, and you just jumped to number 3 in the state rankings today. Does that have any meaning to you, or is it something? Do you even keep an eye on that to see who's in the top 10 from week to week?
We try to stay away from it as much as possible. I think that could be a distraction, and when you start thinking of things like that, that's when you lose focus on what's happening right now, and we want our guys to stay present. So, but it's hard to hide that from guys with today's day and age. So we do want to embrace it because we feel like our guys have earned that spot. So we want to embrace it. We want to stay there, but we don't want to rely too much on that because that's not what wins us games at the end of the season.
Well, I think obviously the AP voters saw what you did on Saturday, and it kind of vaulted you up a few spots. So Travis has a question for you about Saturday as a big win.
Well, I mean, you guys pretty much controlled the game from the start. You led after every quarter. You held them off at the end. But just what are your thoughts on your squad after this huge win against a D1 team that was number 2 overall in the RPI for their district and then number 1 in the Martin RPI? Just what has this done, I guess, for your momentum and things like that, and your thoughts overall on your squad after a very, very big win?
Yeah, so this was a game in the spring of last year that Coach McLaughlin over at Ottawa Glandorf contacted us to see if we could be a part of it, and we were extremely thankful to get the invitation. And once we found out this fall that we were going to play Findlay, we knew it was going to be a battle. Coach, what he's done over there for the number of years, and they have a senior-led team with some scholarship players. We knew it was going to be a tough one, and just to go over to Ottawa to put together a 4-quarter game was awesome to see. And that was with one of our key starters, Braden DeVito, that didn't even play at all, just being sick. So just a chance to go over there to play a really good Findlay team and battle it out. That's the reason we put that game on the schedule, to prepare us for, in the long run in the tournament. And our goal right now is just to try to play our best basketball towards the end of the season. And I think our guys are making the right strides and steps into getting there.
And do you feel you guys are starting to peak at the right time? I mean, you beat one of the best teams in Division I, but just knowing that you got a win like this ahead of a district that's probably one of the toughest districts in the state, just what does that say about you guys?
Yeah, I think it says a lot about, I'll go back to our guys, our seniors, our guys that are playing on the floor. They love to be in those big competitive games. Like when we told them that, hey, we're playing out of Glandorf this year, we're playing Findlay this year. You know, some people might, in that moment when they hear that news, not have much of a reaction. You know, our guys are very eager and hungry. We told them that in the fall. So I think that speaks a lot to our guys. They want to play in those big games. And I think if you have that mindset when the lights are bright at the end of the season, you know, we're going to have eager guys ready to compete on the floor.
Let's go ahead and check out that Division II Northwest 3 district. Absolutely loaded, like Travis said. 3 of the top 10 teams in the state are all lurking in here. I think this may be the most challenging district in D2, but as a number 1 seed, you had the ultimate power to decide where to go on the bracket. What played in your decision-making during the tournament draw to end up where you did?
Yeah, so we were able to take a bye on the top side of our bracket. And like you said, you know, you can place yourself anywhere on this bracket, and it's not going to change the course to get into a district championship. You know, our district is, you could argue, the toughest in Division II in the state. So taking that first round bye up top, a couple things that led into that. We just felt with the experience of our guys, you know, I know some coaches want to opt into playing that early sectional semifinal game, but we felt with just the way our season progresses, we're playing against a really competitive Pleasant and Upper team this week to follow our last week playing against Willard. We felt the progression of our schedule and the competitiveness and the teams that we play will lead up to that sectional final game that we'll have to play against Vermilion. And there's not too big of a gap for us. So we felt comfortable taking a bye. And then kind of in that spot, that's different than other spots in our district, is there's not a sectional semifinal game before. So we like that spot. So you're not giving a team momentum on winning a game before they played us.
OHSA has adopted the RPI system this year using the max preps. What's your thoughts on the formula and how they're going about doing the seeding now, as opposed to just having you coaches take a look at who's done what and determining that on your own?
Yeah, I think last year we were familiar with it. I know it wasn't exactly the same, but our Northwest District was kind of the test trial to do the Martin RPI system. So we had a little bit of familiarity with that, but just having the whole state being consistent with it, I like that approach. I know the formula is a little bit different from Martin RPI to the Max Preps RPI. I'd like to see them take in more of a, you know, like in football, if you're beating a Division I team, you should get credited more. I don't think that plays a factor into the new one. So that would be something I would like to see maybe change, because I think that is deserving when you're beating a team that's twice or 3 times your enrollment, that you should deserve more of credit to that. But I'm okay with it. We like the system. Our staff likes the system. It's played out well.
And then finally, Coach, just looking at your guys' district and from top to bottom, I mean, you played a lot of teams out there. Is there anybody that you want a second shot at when you get back into the playoffs here? You only got a couple losses on the year. You could maybe get some revenge against Lexington. Is there any team that you guys have been talking about that you're like, you know what, we do want another shot at this particular squad?
No, not really. That's not something that we talk about as a group. Right now, I think the thing that we do really well is just worrying about us right now. So, yes, I know all our guys saw where we're at in our district rankings and where we were placed on the bracket, but we're not looking ahead to any of that, especially in our district. I think that's what can get you hurt when you're in such a tough district like ours. If you look ahead, you're not going to be playing ahead. So we're not really worried about that right now. We want to finish our season strong, and that starts again Friday against a really good Pleasant team.
Yeah, you still got a lot of work to do before you even get into the postseason. And 2 games this weekend, both of them at home, your last 2 home games of the season where you can finish unblemished for the entire year. So that's an accomplishment that I got to imagine that's got to be really rewarding for your senior class especially. And then your fan base, knowing that they're coming out there and that the Red Rage, who's the most prepared fan section that I've ever seen ever, always providing me with notes when I come out to your guys' games. So it seems like there's a big affection for this team and could be something really cool if you can finish off the regular season undefeated at home.
Definitely, and our community's been awesome. If people follow Shelby sports, not just basketball, but our community is great, just in the support that they give to our athletic programs here. And like you said, Brian, our Red Rage this year seems to. I feel like in the 3 years I've been here, they've taken another step up to just being that 6th man on the floor for us. And it's a credit to a lot of those senior guys that are leading it. And we're really thankful to have them supporting us every game.
Yeah, I think it's a big advantage for you now that they've flipped it in the Northwest District and you get to play at home in sectional. So the fact that you get those guys backing you at home again is going to be pretty cool when you get into the playoffs. But, Coach, we'll let you get back to enjoying your night off here on a Monday, and we'll be following you the rest of the way. Looking forward to it.
I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you. This is just my opinion, but I've been asked quite a bit over the last couple of weeks with the tournament here on the horizon. This Division II district, a lot of people, a lot of buzz, chit-chatting about it. I think Shelby's the favorite. I know Lexington beat them early in the year, but that was at Lexington. That was before the new season.
On Saturday, absolutely.
Look at the collection of talent and size that Shelby has. I got a chance to see him a couple times here in the new year, and they had to battle back against Pleasant, a game that they got off to a really rough start. Put the pedal to the metal when they needed to, and just Alex Bruscotter, to me, he's the most challenging guy to defend. He's almost got like some Giannis-ish to him because he's so big when he drives down the lane that he's just really tough to defend. And then when you got Lance and Isaiah, I think it's the best team in the district. I think they're going to end up in the championship for sure.
They beat Findlay without the veto.
That's crazy.
I
didn't even know that until he just mentioned it.
No, that's how nuts this team is. And also, think of it this way. Say Mansfield Senior goes and beats Ontario in the first round, that sectional semi.
Yep.
The district will be at Ontario.
Right.
Shelby has played at the Joe Arena every single year. They know that court well. That can be a little bit of an advantage. I mean, Lexington, once every other year they play there. Mansfield Senior hasn't played there in quite some time. Bellevue doesn't play there anymore. They're not in the same conference. So that's a little bit of an advantage, too, playing on a court that you're familiar with.
All right, Trav, I see that we've got a couple more things to get to before we close out the night.
A couple more brackets.
Where do you want to look at?
Well, I am KMAC Trav, so
of course
let's look at the rest of the squads. I already talked about those Golden Knights, the KMAC champs, but also the Fredericktown Freddies. You got Centerburg, you got Cardington here in this D3 Central 2 district. You see the Freddies 8-6. They had that streak a little bit too late because they weren't able to get that home game, but they went right after Fairbanks, the 8-6 matchup, and then they I think it's the possibility we see Pleasant at Fredericktown for a sectional championship game before them going on against a North Union or an Afrocentric squad. But, hey, you never know. I think Fredericktown, hottest team in the KMAC right now. They got some players. I mean, I saw them against Northmor, what they did in that first half. If they play like they did in the first half, they'll be fine. If they play like they did in the second half, it might be a different story. But they have the ability to. And then at the top of the bracket, we might have a KMAC rematch at Cardington. If Cardington knocks off Horizon Science for a second time this year, it'll be Centerburg at Cardington. Those games have been really close as well. So it'd be cool to have a KMAC, maybe a Freddyburg District Championship, something like that, or a Cardington Fredericktown. Those games were very close as well, but lower seeds. But these teams, they got a shot.
I think Fredericktown of our local teams has the most potential just because of the way that they're playing right now, sizzling hot. They got to go on the road, but so what? They've been playing very, very well. I like what they're doing. Centerburg, they've lost 5 in a row. They're going to have to try to turn a corner here these last couple of weeks, get some momentum. But them versus Cardington, what a fun sectional championship game that would be. I know that there's been years and years and years of a rivalry between those two programs. So I'd kind of like to see that come to fruition. And for Fredericktown, I'm not so sure about Pleasant, their stud point guard. Of course, I believe he's sidelined for the season. So, I mean, they still got some guys. But if they were to upset their matchup, and that would mean Fredericktown would get to play at home, how cool would that be for Freddie Nation?
Now, I did talk to their coach when I was down there for the Pleasant Shelby girls game, and after the injury, they went on a winning streak. Sometimes that can galvanize a squad.
Sure.
You know, they did lose a tough one to Harding D1, but you and I saw what Harding has to offer also. They're a great team, but, you know, sometimes, I mean, those injuries are tough, especially for the player that, well, one of the best players in our area go down, but sometimes teams can rally around that and make a run. Sectional championship probably would be a great thing for Pleasant after what happened. Never know. I would love to see that Pleasant-Fredericktown matchup, though.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'd sign up for that. Even without Trey Booker, that'd still be a really fun matchup. All right, we got the best of the rest coming up here, Travis. I know that we got a couple Division II teams that you want to look at?
Yeah, let's start D2 and look at, I believe it's Upper Sandusky. Those Rams, they've been playing great as of late. They're going to be taking on Defiance at home.
Nice.
A game I believe we will have live and free.
Why wouldn't we?
Winner heads to Elida. This is a district that number 8 seeded Kenton that Upper Sandusky knocked off at home. They have a couple other, you know, I think they got a chance of making a run. It's just, you know, going up against the 1 seed, they decided, you know, Coach Winslow wanted to get that first game in there, a sectional semi, and then you never know what could happen against Elida. But I like this Upper squad. They've been playing a lot better this season than last, but they have the pieces that can, you know, really do things. They could have been a top 4 seed if a possession would have gone the other way twice against Crawford, a couple other games, you know. If it falls their way, they are a top 4 seed, and I think, you know, they could still do it.
It's a very competitive team, and they've got some players that on a good night, Upper Sandusky can compete with a number 1 seeded like Elida type of talent. So I look forward to seeing the Rams in the tournament play Defiance. You would expect them to get the win at the mountaintop and move on, and could create for a fun sectional championship game that a lot of folks probably in Bulldog country are like, oh, Upper Sandusky coming in, Northern Town. But look out for the Rams. I think they're playing with a fair bit of momentum right now, and definitely with Darius, Isles, and the boys that they can get something going.
Yeah. Let's stay in Division II and move to the team that nearly gave Shelby a loss in the MOAC. That is the River Valley Vikings. They'll be hosting 16th seeded Beechcroft. Only one team ahead of them, and I think it was like a 29. They split Central District, 2 districts, and it was Bishop Hartley was the 1 seed, River Valley 2. Well, Coach goes for the same district as Bishop Hartley. Bishop Hartley on the bottom half of the bracket. River Valley decided to take the bye. They're playing a sectional championship against Columbus Beechcroft in that semi on the 2nd at 1 o'clock, so Saturday, March 2nd. They will get most likely Columbus Linden McKinley, the 7 seed. They'll get the winner of Bexley and Hamilton Township, a 14-10 matchup in that district semifinal. But on the bottom half of the bracket, Bishop Hartley's the 1. They play a 21 seed, then an 18 seed. The highest seed is Granville. I saw Granville against Centerburg, though, earlier in the year. They got some ballers on that squad as well.
And they were great that night.
Yeah, really good that night. So maybe they have the ability to upset. I haven't seen much of Bishop Hartley, but it's looking like River Valley is going to get back to its 2nd consecutive district round. And with what they have down there, you never know with them. They might be making it down to Ohio University to take on an East District, kind of like what Northmor wants to do. Northmor, River Valley, I mean, Coach was an assistant at Northmor. It'd be a cool story having both those squads about 10 miles apart of each other playing down in Athens at Ohio University in a regional.
That's an exciting team. I love watching River Valley play. Their ball
fun.
Movement, Coach Brown has them working together as a unit.
Great
they got
coach.
a lot of quality 3-point shooters. Ebert.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got quite a few different guys that at any given moment, they'll put it up, they can put it in. So I think they got a ton of potential and would not be surprised in the least bit to hear that they're competing for a district championship or even are in a regional this season.
And they already knocked off, it was 2 versus 4. Bloom Carroll came in the River Valley, and they shot lights. I think they put up 90 against them, won by like 20 points. So this team is already battle-tested. They took Shelby to the
They did beat Shelby.
They beat Shelby. They beat Shelby in that first one. I'm sorry, Alex, but that was, it was the time should have gone off the clock. I mean,
that should have been a half a win for both teams.
But anyway, Shelby took care of business in that second game. But River Valley is a very good squad. I think underrated in the area. I don't think they're talked about enough. I apologize myself. We got them on the Joe show, and Joe talked great about them as well. But I think other people, I think maybe because it's in Marion County, which we're starting to branch out to now as well, getting more love down there to the Pleasants and the Elgins and the Hardings and the River Valley. But this team, I think, a little underrated still, and I think they have a chance to turn some heads with a run that they can do here in the tournament.
Yeah, I think they've won like 10 of their last 11 games. They beat Marion Harding by double figures out there in Caledonia. So like I said, I would not be surprised in the least bit to hear that this team is still dancing into the second or third weekend of the tournament.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to Division III in Cary, baby.
Hey.
Taking on Liberty Benton, a 6-7 matchup at Cary. With the winner will take on Coldwater, and then the winner of that game will take on Ottawa Glandorf in a district semifinal. But Cary, they had a strong start to the Northern 10 conference race. That conference just got all jumbled up here.
Yeah, what's going on in the N10?
Three-way tie at the top with them, Seneca East and Colonel Crawford all fighting for it going into the final week. But Cary, another sneaky squad. When those football players put it all together, they can put out a couple wins, and I can see them going against Ottawa Glandorf in the district semifinal. Now after that, I do not know, because what does OG have? They have the best player in the state.
Probably.
Top close. If Shelby would have beat OG, I'd say Bruscotter, best player in the state. But no, they have the best player in the state, and they're going to be a tough out. They won the state title last year.
Runner up
again. That's right, back to back. So I think this may be the year for them to win the D3 title. We'll see. Central District has some great teams.
So you're telling me Cary's in trouble?
They might,
but not out of the gates.
But you never know with Cary. They love the underdog role.
Yeah, they do. This team has been confusing to me. I really anticipated them being the cream of the crop in the Northern 10. I thought that they were going to run through, maybe not undefeated.
Yeah.
I know they only got 3 losses, and it's a pretty good league when you start looking at the Tigers of Seneca East and how well they've been playing. Winford's a really good, formidable opponent. Colonel Crawford, you already know. There's a lot of good teams out there. I really thought that we'd get a little bit more out of Braden Young, coach's kid. I foresaw him being like an 18, 19 kind of point per night scorer.
He can still do it, but he just hasn't yet.
They don't have a go-to guy on offense. They have good weapons. I like him. I like Putnam. I like Carter Smiley. But they don't have an Alex Bruscotter when you start looking at some of these other teams, like a Carson Smith, that you just know, go get one. I don't know if they have that. They have to play as a team, but they play such good defense that they could make some noise in the tournament. Why not?
Yeah. Hey, why not? Underdog role. What did that happen for football a couple years ago? They went on, shocked the state, won a state
I think they were ranked number 6 in the state going to that tournament. I don't know that they were much of an underdog.
Did you think they were going to beat Springfield in that quarterback? I don't know. Exactly.
Yeah.
But states, once they got to that state semifinal out of the region.
What happened to Bo Brungard? Do you know where he went to college?
His sister helped knock off. Was it Springfield knocked off Buckeye Central last year? I think it was. His sister still played basketball and helping them, So I don't know what he's doing, but I know his sister last year got them to the Final Four. Let's stay in the Northern 10.
Okay.
Let's move to Division 4 and look at Mohawk, the Warriors, who went to a regional last year before falling. They're a 4 seed in their district. They'll take on 10th seeded Woodmore, a 5-14 squad. They win. They get a sectional championship matchup at home as well. And then after that, they'll take on most likely Hopewell Loudon, the top seed in that bracket. But I didn't make a graphic for them, but a Mohawk Calvert district championship game is so intriguing. Coach Otterbacher's squad, I saw them in a 3-way scrimmage with Northmor and Bellevue up at Bellevue this summer, and he's got some ballers up there. They're tall, they're built. They can shoot the ball inside out, and they've got yet another squad. So, I mean, here for us, we're hoping we get maybe a Mohawk-Calvert game, but Mohawk, we're going to have to get past Hopewell out. I think they'll be favored in their sectional semi and their sectional championship game. It's just, can they knock off Hopewell Loudon in a district semifinal on March 5th at Liberty Benton High School, and then the matchup between Calvert and Mohawk.
Mohawk's pretty good. I don't know if they're good enough to get to a district championship game this year. Boomer Cleveland's fun. Hunter Haynes is a fun player,
Who's
but again,
going to be A.J. Hess this year?
That's the thing, is that they don't have one of those. A kid that can go out and get a bucket, will make a big defensive play. So the potential for the Warriors, I think, is a lot different than it was a season ago when they made that great run up to Bowling Green. Don't envision that for this team this year.
If all of them can click on all cylinders at the same time.
That's the thing. That's the beauty of tournament time, is you just have to get it together for one night and one night only. And if you've got a good game plan, you can go out there and you can make it happen. It would just be tough, I think, to envision that for Mohawk this year, though. I look forward to seeing those boys in Sycamore on Sunday. We're going to be partying. We're going to be cutting a rug. Yeah. Got a little winter formal going on. So we're gonna do some partying. We're going to get them nice and relaxed heading into tournament mode, and we'll see. I hope they prove me wrong and that they're able to get 2-3 wins in the tournament.
And I hope none of the players like tearing ACL trying to do the gritty when you play some songs up there. Just, keep it safe. I got one more team for you. A team that another kind of underrated squad. It's Hillsdale, the Hillsdale Falcons. They just lost a couple tough ones to Dalton and to Waynedale for the second time. 5 losses overall. 2 of them, the Norwayne squad that's state ranked in Division II as well. The WCAL champs, Dalton. They went to a regional championship last year, returned some players, and then Waynedale has a shooter that can just hit a 3 from any spot. But Hillsdale, a 10 seed. Teams kind of avoided them, most likely because Warren JFK, who was the #1 team in the state in D4 for a while, took the top half of the bracket. But Hillsdale, they said, hey, let's at least play for a sectional championship that hasn't happened much in the history of Hillsdale, kind of like Northmor. They're the 10 seed. They'll take on 38th seeded Salineville Southern in a sectional semifinal, and then they'll either get a 25 or a 21 seed at home for a sectional championship. So the Falcons, a great season thus far. They have Braylon Jarvis, who just got invited to the News Journal All-Star Game. Congratulations to him. Jack Fickus, one of the best point guards in the area assist-wise. They have some players there. They have height, kind of like Calvert. Not as much like Calvert, but they have height. They can shoot the ball. They have a guy that can take it to the hole at any time in Braylon Jarvis. They got Jack Fickus that's just thrown it anywhere on the court to get assists. But to see them have a chance of winning a sectional championship and cutting down nets, that's a great sight to see over in Jeromesville in that new gym.
And it looks like the playoff tournament trail for them, doable,
very
manageable,
doable.
At least leading up to like a district championship type of level.
District semifinal against #1 Warren JFK in Grand
I think that's
Valley,
what I meant, yeah. But to get out of a sectional, it looks like things stacking up well for the Falcons. Yes. Then can they get it together at the district level? It'd be fun to see, but we're fully anticipating the Falcons flying for a couple of wins into the districts.
They're at least going on to the next week of the season before Mr. Fickus and them start focusing on another long baseball run as well. But that's one of the feel-good stories, I think, in our area is the Hillsdale Falcons football team. As always, nobody thinks about the basketball teams there. It's softball and football and baseball at Hillsdale, but the basketball team this year, especially early on, getting that winning streak to start the year, getting noticed. I got down there for 2 games. They knocked off a good Mapleton squad, probably the 3rd best team in the Firelands Conference in a shootout that they had there. But it's great to see those boys. They deserve a nice season on the basketball side, and they've been getting it.
Yeah, what are the Falcons runners-up in Wayne County League?
3rd.
Third behind Norwayne, killing everybody, and then Downton.
Downton, yeah.
How about Downton?
Great year so far. Let's see if they can go on for an extra week.
Well, I don't think I can go on for too much more time here tonight, Travis. It's one of our longest podcasts ever. Had a lot of fun.
It's kind of our, like last week, this is our tournament breakdown. We have a whole separate show for football. This is like a bracket breakdown for that. That's why. I
love hearing from the coaches about, unlike football, you actually get a choice when you're one of the higher seeds to put a little bit of strategy into who you're playing. Down in the Central District, specifically with like Blade Tackett, you even get to pick the region that you go to. So those stories are fascinating to me to hear about the strategy that's put behind it, or maybe even in some cases
redemption, payback.
Yes, or lack thereof. If you're Coach Gallaway and Shelby, they're like, we're not looking at that. We're just trying to win tomorrow.
We're just moving on to Cincinnati.
We're just moving on to Friday. So, hey. Fun show here tonight. Glad that we could get together and do this thing, and
let's finish it out on a special way.
Oh, this is your thing.
This is my thing.
You know what? Take us there, Travis.
Well, tournament's about to begin, but let's for one more time relive the best moments of the 2023 tournament in North Central Ohio. We finished the show tonight with the 2023 version of One Shining Moment. So take it away. Have a great week. We'll see you next Monday.
Ball is tipped, and there you are. You're running for your life. You're a shooting star. And all the years, no one knows just how hard you worked. But now it shows. In one shining moment, it's all on the line. In one shining moment, they're frozen. Time is short and the road is long. In the blinking of an eye, that moment's gone. And when it's done, win or lose, you always did your best. 'Cause inside you knew that in one shining moment you reached deep inside. One shining moment you knew you were alive. Feel the beat of your heart, feel the wind in your face. It's more than a contest, it's more than a
3 seconds, Depperschmidt in transition, the layup, and Lexington wins!
Cecil for 3, fouled and one! Are you kidding me?
Almost turned it over. They did turn it over.
And now here's Purvis for the lead!
Wow, unbelievable.
And when it's done, win or lose, you always did your best. 'Cause inside you knew, in one shining moment, you reached for the sky. In one shining moment, you knew, yeah. In one shining
Kicks it back out.
moment,
3 in the air. Yes! 2 seconds. 1. It's over. Mount Gilead upsets number 3 Bern Union. Northmor is heading to its first ever district championship.
Cardinal Crawford coming back down to Division 4, and they are your champions here in Willard.
The Buckeye Central Buckettes are elite once again. It's over.